Rivals Radio.
Welcome back to Rivals Radio. I know, free agency's got everyone going crazy. My phone sure hasn't stopped buzzing. But we're going to kind of step back from all that for a minute and look at what's going on in Oklahoma City. Things are getting pretty interesting over there.
Definitely a unique situation. I can't really remember another time we've seen someone becoming both owner and GM at the same time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Clint Baker. People are already talking about him. He's a tough guy to figure out. You know, he's got that background in international lumber. Let's be real, that's a pretty tough business. And then there's that time he ran a professional rugby team,
Oh, yeah.
which is not exactly a gentle sport.
It's really interesting how he made a name for himself in the lumber world. I mean, it wasn't just about being tough. He was a really smart operator. There's this story about a deal he made in Brazil. Like, he got the logging rights to this huge part of the rainforest. Everyone thought it was impossible. Brilliant move, but definitely ruffled some feathers. So now the question is, how's he going to apply that same thinking to running a football team?
That's the big question. Then you add in the whole rugby thing. Makes things even more interesting. I mean, rugby is a brutal sport. The strategies are complicated. And the fans are intense. So if he can handle all that pressure...
Way more cutthroat. Player contracts, the salary cap, the draft, it's a whole other level of complicated. It'll be fascinating to see how Baker handles it all.
Yeah, and his first big move as owner, bringing in Stan Gable as head coach. Remember, they were fraternity rivals back at Adams College.
Oh, yeah. The infamous prank war of '97. I heard Baker dyed Gable's hair pink right before a big presentation.
That's the story. But under all that rivalry, they've actually got a ton of respect for each other. And they're good friends. And of course, they're both crazy about football. It's kind of wild, right?
Yeah.
From fighting in the frat house to, an NFL team together.
Yeah.
And Gable's got this reputation as a player's coach. But he's also supposed to be a brilliant offensive mind.
Some people are even calling him a genius at designing plays. But the question is, will his offensive skills be enough to deal with Baker's management style? That's a big question mark. We've seen plenty of coach-owner pairs that just couldn't make it work, no matter how talented they were.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. And then there's the situation with the natives themselves. They had a decent 0 year, finished with the 21st pick in the draft. Not bad, considering a lot of people thought they'd be at the bottom of the league.
Yeah, that's true. And they don't really have any glaring weaknesses, which makes their draft strategy even more interesting. Will they go for the best player available approach? Or does Baker have someone specific in mind? Someone who fits his vision for the team?
Right. I've seen some draft boards that have them taking an offensive lineman. Others have them looking for a halfback, someone with a bit more spark than their current starter, Marcus Carroll. And of course, there's the whole quarterback situation.
Ah, yes, Blair Cartwright. He's a veteran, but he's definitely in the later stages of his career. And there were those reports last season about him not clicking with Roy Pritchard. That's something to keep in mind. If they want to make a run for the playoffs, they'll need those two guys on the same page.
For sure. But their defense is pretty solid, wouldn't you say? Tony Pearson is a beast on the defensive line. And they've got some young talent coming up, like Timon Montgomery at linebacker and Darian Good at corner.
Oh, absolutely. They've got a strong defense, but to really compete in today's NFL, you need a powerful offense too, and that's where things get really interesting. There are these rumors going around, and I want to be clear. This is just a rumor right now, that superstar free safety Julius Dobson might be on the trading block.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
Dobson's arguably the best safety in the whole league. Why would they even think about trading him?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It kind of suggests Baker is thinking big, maybe even making some radical changes. Maybe he wants to load up on draft picks. Or maybe he's got his eye on a particular player, someone who could be a cornerstone for his new team.
It's a bold move, that's for sure. And definitely risky. Trading a player like Dobson could send shockwaves through the whole league.
It shows that Baker isn't afraid to shake things up. He's not happy with the way things are. He wants to build something special in Oklahoma City, and he's willing to make tough choices to do it.
So if he does trade Dobson, who are some of the teams that might want him? And what kind of deal could they realistically get for him?
Well, you gotta think teams like Chicago and San Antonio would be interested, and they could definitely use a top-tier safety to strengthen their defense. In terms of what the natives could get in return, you're probably looking at multiple picks, maybe even a player swap to fill a specific need. Dobson's that valuable.
Wow, that's a lot. With that kind of draft capital, Baker could really change the whole team. He could go after the top quarterback prospect, fix any weak spots, and build for the future.
Exactly. But it all depends on whether Baker can find the right players, make smart trades, and handle the salary cap. It's a high-risk game, no guarantee of success.
It's all about calculated risks, right?
Yeah.
And Baker clearly isn't afraid to take a gamble, you know. That whole Dobson thing, it kind of reminds me of that rainforest deal he made in Brazil. Everyone thought he was crazy, but he saw something that nobody else did. Maybe he sees something similar with Dobson.
That's an interesting comparison. Baker has this knack for finding value where other people don't. He's a master strategist, always thinking a few steps ahead. The big question is, can he outmaneuver the rest of the league and build a dynasty in Oklahoma City?
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, this is going to be fun to watch. Think about it. You've got this mysterious owner who everyone says is ruthless, a brilliant head coach who could be a little volatile, a talented roster with some question marks, and the possibility of a huge trade.
Definitely a recipe for drama. For the fans of the Oklahoma City natives, it's either the beginning of a new era of success or a wild ride into the unknown.
And that brings us back to the big question. Can Baker and Gable, with their different styles and their shared history, can they actually make this work? Can they create a winning culture and turn the natives into contenders?
It's a fascinating question, and the answer will only be revealed on the field.
For the sake of the natives fans, let's hope this gamble pays off. Because if it does, they could be in for a really exciting season.
Absolutely. And for everyone else in the league, keep your eye on Oklahoma City. Clint Baker is just getting started.
As we wrap up this deep dive into the Oklahoma City natives, we're left with a lot of questions and even more anticipation.
Will Baker's big moves pay off? Or will his aggressive style backfire? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the Oklahoma City natives are a team to watch this season.
They might just be the most interesting team in the league.
They might be. And with that, we'll leave you with one final thought. As Clint Baker starts this new journey, one question remains. Will his arrival in Oklahoma City bring a new era of dominance? Or will his controversial style end up backfiring?
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Oklahoma City natives. We'll be back soon with more Football Rivals news and analysis. Until then, keep those trades coming and those touchdowns flying.
It's Rivals Radio.